the the real reason I wanted to talk to you, Chael. So there's a young heavyweight in my home country of England called Tom Aspinall, and Tom's, he's a rising star. This is his second main event coming up against Curtis Blaydes, so obviously I'd be interested in talking to him. But I hit him up, and to be honest, he was quite stubborn and said, no, no, no. If you want to talk to me in the media, you go to one man, and that man is the undisputed Chael Sonnen. He texted me that. Can you explain to me how it's come to be that you have become Tom Aspinall's official media representative?
Yeah, and I appreciate you showing respect to that, because some people thought we were tongue-in-cheek or we were fooling around, but I really am going to handle the media for Tom going into this fight. We're just going to see what happens, right? If the audience enjoys it, then we'll go from there. Tom fights very well. Tom trains extremely well, and Tom is a competitor. That's what he wants to do. He wants to get better with his punches. He wants to get better with his kicks. He wants to get better with his conditioning. That's what he wants to do, but I want him to get the attention that he deserves. I see that as my role. Like, now that I'm a commentator, or now, that I'm just a fan, my career right now is the way my career started. I'm a fan. And when I see a guy like Tom that's 12-2, when I see a guy like Tom that not only fought a former world champion, which is very hard to do, there's not a lot floating around, but he did it with Orlovsky. He also stopped him. And he needs to be getting his attention for that. I thought it was a very nice bump to beat Orlovsky and then get to go into a main event. But I will remind you of that main event. It was completely sold out. It was sold out, and it was such a hit show with Tom at the absolute top of the bill that Dana White showed up to a press conference sick and with laryngitis just to tell the English crowd how great they were and that he wants to come back. Tom gets the credit for that. I don't know that Tom always goes out and demands that credit, though. I think that Tom is one fight away from being in a world championship spot, and not for nothing, they dealt us from the bottom of the deck here. Curtis Blaydes is as hard of an opponent. He is as skilled and well-rounded as opponent as you're going to find. The only way to beat Curtis Blaydes that we've ever seen, it doesn't matter if you're Ngannou or Derek Lewis, you have to stop the man. You have to put him out, and that is what Tom is training to do, which is why I am handling this side of it.
What do you think Tom gets from you, such a loved figure in MMA, taking him under your wing like this? I mean, he said to me that, he's not shy in front of a camera. He can talk for himself, but listen, there's one guy who's known for talking, and that's Chael Sonnen. He's the one who kick-started this all off. So what do you think he benefits from you taking him under and showing him the ropes?
I just think Tom's a very sweet guy, and I think he wants to come off as that. I think he wants to be very authentic, like when he was text messaging with you, and I think that comes through in his interviews. Look, nice guys finish last in this sport, right? We may not like that, but it's true. Even the great George St-Pierre had one of the longest and hardest rises to get to a main event or to get to a title fight, because he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to talk about his opponent's weaknesses. He didn't want to talk about his strengths. He liked everybody. He was a fan of the sport. He'd be talking about who's fighting over here and sharing a little bit of love with the other guys. I just said, Tom, you go in the gym and you do what you do, which is get good at whipping people's ass. Let me let people know the 5 W's: who, what, when, why, and where. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to let them know who you are, who you're taking on, when, why, where, so that they can tune in and watch. Not asking for anything else, but I will submit for you with a 12-2 record, who's beat a former world champion, who has headlined a card and won, and now he's doing it against Curtis Blaydes, is the #1 contender. I don't care who they're trying to put in there. You ask any of those heavyweights, the hardest fight out there is Curtis Blaydes. You ask Stipe Miocic himself, he will tell you Curtis Blaydes. We're going to go deal with Curtis Blaydes. That's a lot to deal with, but my job is to make sure that people tune in and watch, and most importantly, whoever wins that fight gets their credit, and they should be getting the next title fight, and I think that Tom will.
Would you agree with me that if Tom Aspinall can beat Curtis Blaydes, he has knocked off the hardest stylistic matchup for him, and therefore should be considered the favorite going into those bigger fights? I mean, he will have done everything at that point.
It would be a mess. And I will tell you what, I mean, Curtis is a fine example here. We're not looking to kick Curtis, but in all fairness, Tom could head down the same road that Curtis is. When I tell you how great Curtis Blaydes is, okay, this is a guy that's tall. This is a guy that's young. This is a guy that wants to fight so bad. Curtis Blaydes, that he fights Ngannou before anybody even knows what an Ngannou is. He loses in 28 seconds, demands a rematch. Nobody wants to fight Francis. Curtis demands a rematch, gets it. He has to go to another continent to do it. He loses in 30 seconds. He demands another rematch. He's not scared of anything. Okay, this is a guy that goes out there, beats absolutely everybody. Somewhere he gets tagged as boring. And once you get hit with that as a wrestling national champion, it's very hard to shake it. So then he goes and works on his kickboxing. He doesn't want to be boring anymore. Now he's beating guys on their feet. Now he's taking guys down. This is Curtis Blaydes. He's doing everything right. But for some reason, the audience isn't showing him the respect. They're not showing him that attention. He rightfully should be the #1 contender, as Stipe Miocic would tell anybody that's willing to listen. He used to train with him, Stipe. says this is the toughest guy. And I only bring it to your attention because when Tom gets through with him, Tom deserves that shine. That's the way the sport works, man. It's a huge poker hand, and all chips are in at all times. So Curtis Blaydes is bringing a beautiful resume, and what I believe is the number one contendership. That's what Tom's got an opportunity to go take.
Do you expect if Tom was to win the world title, he will demand that you be the one to wrap the belt around his waist after so much time together?
Well, that could be very interesting. I mean, I would probably be on the outside, maybe in like a suit and commentating his fight. And if I was in that role, I got to be really, you got to be really straight. If I got a biasness, I would disclose it. But I'm a fan of Tom. But more than that, I'm a believer. I really do believe in him. I've got a mole within his gym, just to share with you. And I've told Tom this before, but I know how good his boxing is. And I keep telling the audience how dangerous this guy's hands are, what a good chin he is, and how good he is at giving punches. But I have to tell him that because when Tom's back is against the wall, he goes out to a big double leg and ground and pound somebody out, which is very rare for a British fighter to do. Like, it wouldn't surprise you that a British fighter could go Queensberry, right? But it would surprise you that they can go get a takedown and pound out former world champions. It's very real, man. This guy has not shown his true potential yet. He truly hasn't. At 12-2 as a main eventer, I'm telling you, with the right attention, he is one win, and this is it. Curtis Blaydes is the win. I'm talking about. He is one win away from being in there against the winner of Stipe and Jones.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I could talk to you all night. I've just got one question. It's more of a personal question. You once shared about your harrowing upbringing in your childhood, and you mentioned your neighbors were twins, and they got a Mercedes. I was just wondering if you knew how they were doing after such a struggle growing up.
I haven't checked in on those guys so much. I mean, I know they're doing well, but there was others. You don't want to get into personal stuff with your friends and neighbors, but like there was a day over at their house that the air conditioner broke. They had to go jump in the swimming pool just to cool off. Like it was disgusting, but they got through. I think they went to college and probably did their best. They're probably making a good living. And I don't know. I wish them the best. I can tell you that. You lose touch over time, right? I'm still in Westland. I was born here. I will die here. I'm the king of this town, but some other people left.
Yeah, I drove from Florida to Seattle once, and I made a point to drive through there to check out how bad it could be. And I think I only saw one or two Ferraris on the main high street, so it was shocking to me. But
I wish you would have called me. I'd have taken you to lunch. We'd have gone and ran a dice game at the junior high. I could have shown you around town. Next time you're on the road trip.
Let's do it. Next time we'll do it. And it's just inspiring to see all you guys manage to get out of that sort of background.